Welcome to Mindful Drawing. I'm Robert, and I'll be your guide on this meditation practice that explores awareness and presence through the act of drawing. From this, we can hopefully tease out or extract some creativity, some expression of our imagination onto the page through that pen or pencil, whatever medium you choose to draw with. Bring those fibers into action and communication with ourselves, and hopefully explore a little bit of an idea, whether we know what it is at first or find it through the act. I had the opportunity last week to visit a dark sky sanctuary at Massacre Rim in Nevada. Out there, a little time under the stars, the quiet darkness filled by moonlight, by reflections off the clouds, by the warm air radiating up off of the desert floor, and by the cool breeze pushing the storms out of the space. A chance to see the open sky, to experience broad and vast, the infinite of all the little points of light wrapping around our field of vision here on the dome. And I thought we would take that as an inspiration for the meditation today, using a nice, soft, perhaps inky pen or a soft pencil, something that will really allow you to express a series of dots, a field growing from your imagination, that expansiveness, and perhaps bound it a little, frame it with some clouds, play with some composition, and see where it goes. All you need for the exercise, a pen or pencil, something you like to draw with, piece of paper, sketchbook, anything will really do. So go ahead and gather your supplies, establish your space, and let's draw together. On the warm-up side, that view we may not get so often of the night sky with not too many light obstructions, so we had a bit of cloudiness. It was kind of interesting. I thought maybe we could start with just a careful meditation on making some points in a field and do a little, almost like a stippling. So depending on what you're using, pen or pencil, making a dot. Right, these may not show up if I just tap, maybe move to something heavier, or just get the idea of tapping with the pen or pencil. Whatever dot it makes, they'll just be our starting point. And as we do that, the place we can bring some of our attention and mindfulness in the practice is the motion up and down. It's easy to get a little fast and perhaps make some streaks. Maybe that's something interesting there that we could work with, or bring our attention to when we allow a streak to happen, when we allow a dot to happen in our motion. That tapping is a starting place to develop a field, quickly institute points of information there. I think it's starting to show up a little as we build density, and it may make sense to use something softer or more large at the end of the pen or pencil, but we'll see how it goes. And this technique of moving up and down gives us some access to speed, variability, pacing, density, that are all things we can begin to enter into as we explore the drawing space. As there will inevitably be some of these streaks or smudges as we move around, may get some of those lines in strange directions, thinking those could be entrance points to expanding the field a little bit, areas where we could grow a dot into a spot as we go along, so there begins to become some difference. And then maybe we'll explore something at the edges, softness, cloudiness, a framing, as we go through the whole exercise. We'll move to a fresh sheet, page in the sketchbook, anything you'd like to use to explore drawing with. Go ahead and take a few moments to just become familiar with that space, the emptiness of the page, the kind of area there to begin to fill out and explore. Move the hands across it, become familiar with the texture of the paper, or set the pen down for a moment to just Give those hands some space to extend and contract, to stretch out and to compress, just to warm up all the motion in the fingers, give them a little bit of a flex and wiggle back and forth. Maybe stretch the wrists forward and back, warming up all those joints that will support us and hopefully also drift a little bit into the background as we go through the meditation. And with the hands flat on the surface or curled up, whichever's comfortable for you, take a couple deep breaths, just filling out some space. And at the top of the breath, sip in just a little more and let it easily flow out. And one more round for good measure, filling up the space around us and within us. And letting it out through those hands. As we prepare to enter into the drawing. Use something a little bold so we can all see. But now our attention and meditation comes into holding of the pen or pencil, engaging it with the paper, trying to be as up and down as possible to begin with. Can take large motions to really let the attention come to how we use this kind of mechanical connection between the instrument, the pen or the pencil, the page, that plane or field, and our arm, the extension out from the torso, held firmly but not rigidly, needs to move, needs to flex a little up and down when the pen or pencil engage with the paper. Trying to find that arc of motion, bring it into our attention that primarily makes these little dots. But if you're finding a few streaks here and there, we'll come around to them later. Or if that motion brings an interest to your arm, to your mind, perhaps follow along with it. The dots are just a potential medium to start filling up some space. As we're getting into it, we can begin to bring greater attention of our presence through the interaction of our motion and our breath. This may be a bit of a quick motion. Slow it down for a little while. Slow it down to the pace of our breathing naturally, beginning to just recognize how your breath is moving in and out. Move up and down with that oscillation, perhaps in breath and up motion, out breath and down motion. This may really slow down the movement for a little while. That space of slowness in a technique that we've built some familiarity with. Letting us recognize some of our rhythms. It may become uncomfortably slow. Perhaps the arm begins to get tired. For now, it's a short time. Just observe where any tension may build up, or any desire, may pressure, increasing the speed. The breath may increase a little bit from our natural state as we bring some attention to it and put it in communication with the action. We feel a natural rhythm form for a little while. We begin to have the presence within ourselves to see that pacing and speed. How we bring rejuvenation into the body, filling the lungs a little bit with air, releasing some of the air that is cleansed through our blood vessels, filtered through our lungs. We may even slow down to the point of barely drawing just a few dots every minute as we enter into a space of presence and relaxation with that motion. You may want to close your eyes if that feels comfortable, bringing greater awareness to that internal space, the breath in, the breath out, the movement up, and the movement down. Perhaps extending the motion, a little larger arc to the up movement at the elbow, a larger sweep back down to the page, letting the whole arm chain become connected with the in-breath and the out-breath, become the instrument of marking on the page. And sit with that for a few moments of quiet, observing the action, finding greater alignment between motion, expression, and your breath. Since that is probably a bit of a challenging space to not have the breath increase to the speed of an action, we can let that go from our foreground now. We may have pulled in quite a lot of oxygen or air, or just gone through that phase of the exercise of a bit of challenge and struggle between the connection. Again, it is an exercise building up some of that awareness, that connection to our muscles, our space. Keep the pen moving along at a pace that feels comfortable. Perhaps it's a nice time to speed up a little bit, open the eyes and let them travel through the field, see where they land. Are there areas of openness, of density, drawn to them to make new dots, new expressions? Letting the breath return to its natural state, floating back to the recesses of our awareness as we bring the act of each dot's impact with the page to the foreground. The eyes wander through the field, a little bit quicker motion, removing some of the thought guidance from where the next dot goes, as each space just has to pick and go, each spot a dropping of the pen to the page with a bit of control in that chain of awareness to our muscles, our arm. The speed may increase the intensity of the dot. For the pen that I have, a little more ink plops down if I go a little faster, a little harder to the page. Maybe I can begin to bring my attention to that impact. Is it stiff or firm? Is it hard when we hit the paper? How does the pen react? noticing. And in that noticing, there always may be a bit of guiding, perhaps a guiding of the rhythm to the dunk, 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 dunk of the pen, finding an evenness, perhaps a more random jaunt. Just looking at what you notice internally. No need to do any specific thing there. Do you feel that motion, that repetition in the hand, holding the grip onto the pen or pencil, sliding slightly with each impact? Do you notice the repetitive motion in the shoulder or the elbow? If it's bringing any tension or tightness, always switch hands or arms. Hopefully moving into another phase of the exercise shortly, just continuing to fill in or fill out that field of dots. Little points of ink on a page with the inverted points of light, stars in a dark sky. And as we come towards a transition from this phase, keep the pen moving if it's comfortable. Let it come to rest slowly as we take a few deep breaths just to re-engage our attention to that space, breathing in to fill out the lungs, breathing out to relax the shoulders, to relax the torso, breathing in to expand all of those working muscles, breathing out to bring awareness and thankfulness to their action. A couple more deep breaths at your own pace. Chance for rest, chance for perhaps observing into the drawing there on the page. What shape or figure does it begin to form in the mind? Does it fill everything out or rest within the page? And whatever that outer boundary begins to be, can we bring some attention to it? Maybe light, pillowy wisps, the cloud's edges, wrapping the limit of our vision, lightly obscuring around the edge, but also defining a shape. Soft, rolling little arcs, nice new movement for the hand to explore. Some maybe small, some long, clean motions. Working left to right or right to left, depending on location within the drawing. You see how that motion feels as we come around and give shape to the amorphous flowing field of dots. Their internal shape, a density, reflection, the external shape, engagement with our page, with our atmosphere. How does the pen respond, pencil respond to the new motion, creating potentially a different character of line or mark? Did it gain some fatigue as an instrument through your exploration of dots? tracking along, letting into your awareness gratitude for things that bubble up in our imagination, gratitude for these instruments, the pen or pencil, simple or complex, specialized or general, that let us find expression outward, let us form things onto a page, the paper, whatever you're drawing on, supports that medium of outward experience generated from our motion, imagination, gratitude to yourself for time spent building awareness and mindfulness. And just a little time perhaps observing what you've made as we come towards the close of the exercise. Giving your eyes a few squeezes and flexes and reopenings, letting them close tight. And on an exhalation, open and see the space of the drawing fresh. Track around lightly. Adjust to the large and small, the dark and light space. Closing them again to fill the lungs with air. Give them a squeeze, and again let them open. And see fresh the space of the page. A new drawing made by you, made by us, together, taken in as its own artifact. No more need for dots, no more need for edges, just a canvas exposed. And to close it out, we'll do one more deep breath for good measure, filling up that space internally, expanding to the external with a final sip in of air, and a deep sighing exhalation just to let out any tension. To sit for a moment in that space we've made. A few more dots, little points of light stippled out on the page. Welcome back. I thank you for joining for the exercise. I hope you've enjoyed the practice, finding your own space in these points, filling out a field on the page, maybe an expression of the stars like mine explores here, or your own figures and constellations gathered around whatever motion you've with that inner motion with that internal connection to your breath, to your action, and to the expression through a medium on the page. Included here are a few of the time lapses I experimented with. Night sky photography, not something I've done before, but looking at capturing an even deeper expanse, letting the lens augment our vision, look further out into that field of stars and see it move over time, many hours of continued photographs, capturing our celestial rotation, the rise of the moon, the space of the desert, the parting of clouds, revealing something beyond. And whatever your drawing exercise this week may have revealed for you, that's just a little bit of time for yourself to explore your creativity, maybe a deep relaxation, or hopefully just a little bit of fun, making some marks on a page, something interesting to look at for a moment, and to move on with our day. These practices can serve any time, a quick exercise or the longer format here, so feel free to explore them. Let me know how it goes. Leave a comment below if you found something interesting in this exercise, and give it a thumbs up. Explore some of the other mindful drawing practices on this channel. We post videos here usually every Wednesday morning, and you can catch us live on Twitch at RooksIsFun or via Mindful Pratt, their weekly drawings. Thank everyone for joining, and hope you have a wonderful day. Draw well.